What's up guys, it's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Buildit video, and today we're going to talk about the contest of mayors for high level players. Now, I've never done a video in detail about this topic, and I'm going to explain why that is in the introduction of this video. If you don't care to hear, kind of why I've never done a video on it, then you can go ahead and skip ahead a couple of minutes. Okay, so first things first, if you're a high level player and you want to participate in the contest competitively, I tip my hat to you, you're crazy, okay? That's first thing. And I'm going to tell you why. Not necessarily because people are so great at the contest of mayors at high level play. At the high level players, they're not. Wow, I just fucked all that up, didn't I? Should I restart the video? I'm only 1 minute in, or should I let you get a good laugh out of my tongue twister this morning? Okay. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. But it's not that they're so damn great way up there with their high level selves, okay? Give me a break. It's here, I'll even show you. It's 5:43 in the morning here. So, yeah. Okay. So, you're a high level player. You want to play CoM competitively. You've probably never won the contest, and you've seen a lot of people maybe on the Facebook group, and they're winning, and you're like, hey, well, what about us, And the reason I've never done a video for us is because to play CoM competitively at our level, it's a flipping nightmare. And I'm going to tell you why it's a nightmare. So, the contest of mayors, if you win first place, now you have to get past all the hackers first, and there's a lot of hackers, and a lot of hackers are also high-level players, right? Most of them are right around the 50 mark range. Now, some of them, yes, they hack low-level cities. I'm not saying that they're not found at low level as well. But they are, in my opinion, there's more hackers in CoM at high level, okay? And that's just where I've always seen it. Now, I've always been high level though. So, I'm going based off of what I see from people in my club and the people that contact me on Messenger. I definitely see more hackers than they do, okay? Now, that being said, you never really know if there is a hacker in your league until you get to know the players you're going up against. The next reason is because of the variety of assignments that you have at your level, along with the cost. That is the biggest thing, is that for you to play CoM competitively, the cost is outrageous, okay? In order for you to run a 2K average, or anywhere near a 2K average, we're talking you're going to spend pretty much what you would win. Realistically, that was back when they had the Omega Canisters task. Now, this also depends greatly on how many regional maps that you have unlocked. So that's why I've never done it, because the cost is so high. Okay, it's not that you can't win. It's that even if you did win, which is damn near impossible, mind you, the cost just outweighs the reward every week. I mean, you're going to spend well over 10 tokens, well over, to win the contest. You'll be lucky if you get first place, okay? Because what usually happens is people race to the top, they spend an obscene amount of cash, those same people get bumped down below like 20th place. All week long, they just slowly watch their placement go down. And then you have the people that wait till the very last day, and they zoom to the very top of the leaderboard in less than 24 hours, running well over a 2K average. Not realistic, okay? Especially when you're looking at that person's map going, okay, wait a minute here. You've got every regional map in the world unlocked. So either you spend tens of thousands of dollars in cash, or something isn't right here. That's the next thing I'm about to tell you. If you do not win one round, just one, everything that you did that week and everything that it costs you is what it costs you. So now how are you going to participate next week? You're going to have to spend real money to participate. And people fall into this habit of paying every week to participate in the contest to lose. And then even when they win, they don't really win. They're just getting back what they spent. And so that's why it's honestly, it's not worth it at high level. It's really not. But let's say that you don't care about that. You want to do it anyway. And you want to know how to run a 2K average or higher as a high level player. Okay. Where do I start? If you don't know how to play the Contest of Mayors as a low-level player, then you're not going to know how to play as a high-level player. It's just going to be even more confusing to you. But I'm a high-level player, so I'm going to show you my list and explain to you kind of what you have to do here. So right here I have that Omega for 3,000. I don't like Omega, I don't want Omega. So in order for me to do this assignment, I have to place out a new Omega home, do one upgrade on it, and then I can bulldoze it. That is how I do that assignment. Now, if you have Omega and you like Omega, then you can choose to actually do the upgrade and have it benefit you. Now, in this instance, what is the correct choice for me? Okay, so here's what you do. You need to do a task assessment. And we're going based off the fact you need to look at how long you have left in the contest, how much assignments. I have way too many assignments left, and I have way too little time. But let's pretend that it's the beginning of the contest, okay? Let's just ignore that entirely. And let's just go based off of what assignments are in front of me here. Now, realistically, you want to break your assignments down into two categories, premium and non-premium, okay? You want non-premium tasks of a low points value, and you want premiums of a high points value. Now, certain tasks can be done and then, you know, kind of set to the side and you don't really see them too often, whereas other tasks, you do them, they come right back, and then you have the tasks that pop up in multiples. Now, the one benefit that you do have as a high-level player is that you are allowed to do upgrade tasks, okay? Here's the thing. Low-level players can't do upgrade tasks. They pop up in multiples, and they can take up and flood their entire list, meaning they would have to cancel and then drop their average. It's not an easy task to run a 2K average as a low-level player, but it can be done, especially without doing upgrades. So for those of you who think it can't be done, I have about 10 people in my group that can prove otherwise, okay? So, moving on. What do we know about this list? Well, we're going to pretend that it's the beginning of the contest. So we have a feed task, which is factory production for 1,400. That's way too low, okay? We don't have time for all that crap. And it's being held of a low points value, but it's one of our premiums, so that sucks. Now we have that 2,000 keys, which is obviously our next pick. Now, as a low-level player, that would be your pick. Under certain circumstances, you would let it sit because keys are non-premium, okay? But you can't have too many tasks worth a certain points value remaining in your list. So if we had more 2,000 point tasks here that were, let's say, premium, we would pick those over the keys because the keys only pop up one time and they're non-premium. So they're holding that value. They're holding that placement. We know that we're not going to get keys again worth a low points value because that one's sitting there. But that's also our highest valued task right now. So there's one difference between high-level players and low-level players, and that is you're almost always focusing on your highest task. Almost always. And the reason for that is because you can't afford for any mistakes. Whereas a low-level player can make mistakes. They're not going against people that really know what they're doing. They're going against people that are either hacked or pretty much usually don't have a clue what they're doing, right? So at a higher level, doing a task worth 100 points less isn't really an option, right? So right here, you also have an upgrade Green Valley for 1K. Now that is a premium task sitting there at the bottom, and you don't really have any other upgrades. So do you do the keys, right? Because it's worth 2,000, or because you don't have very many other tasks worth 2,000 points, what do? Do you open up a premium? It's a hard call, isn't it? Okay, so now you also have caps for $1,600. That's also a premium task. And it has the ability to open up other premiums, but it's worth 600 points higher. But the Green Valley being there is blocking any 3K upgrade from appearing for Green Valley. So which one do you choose? It's a hard call, because you also have a 1600 epic, you got the 1600 cap, 1600 epic, and this 2000 keys. So you can hold your 2K average and go for the keys, or you can prep the caps, do the epic, or you can do the upgrade. Which do you choose? Well, this is a good example of what rotation looks like, okay? Rotation is where you're trying to take everything and kind of put it in place, so to speak. As for high level, it's a little different. It's a little more complicated. The choices get harder, and with the higher up you go in level, the more stuff you unlock, the harder the choices become, okay? And you've just opened up a whole realm that you're not used to, which is being able to do upgrade tasks, which you couldn't do before. So normally you wouldn't even look at that task. Normally you'd be like, okay, good. That would be a good thing. That task sitting there for a low level player is a fabulous thing, because that means that task cannot come back as a 3K value, but in your case, you want it to come back as a 3K value. So in your case, it's hurting you, which sucks. It really sucks. Okay, so realistically, you would probably do the keys, okay? Because it's gonna hold your value and you're gonna get it done quickly. It's the beginning of the contest, so you went ahead and you did the keys. Now let me see if I can actually get this one done real quick. I don't think I can, but we'll see. We'll see what I got here. No, I'm not gonna be able to get that done and still explain what I want to explain. So let's just cancel it. Doesn't matter. Okay, now I've got an airport task. So realistically, I would watch the video for this and see what I get. Now, you guys, it's going to cost you a lot. And when it comes to regional tasks, regional coins, the regional coins tasks, the regional shipments tasks, and the airports and things like that, those are going to really bankrupt you. That's going to be where the majority of your cash goes. So how do you do those regional tasks? What's the best way to get regional currency? Okay, let me explain that real quick. Well, we gotta watch this stupid video anyway. So you've gotten a regional assignment. Maybe it's for an obscene amount of regional coins, and you're like, how the hell do they expect me to do that? Now, mind you, that 1600 Paris is a non-premium task. The most it can be worth is 2400 points. So we're actually gonna leave that one sit. That would not be our next choice. Our next choice would probably, honestly, be that Green Valley upgrade for 1K, because it's blocking way too much by being down there at the bottom. So we would go ahead and go with that. Now let me see if I can actually do that one. Now, back to the regional currency, you're going to check and see if you have a regional shipment option available to you. If you do, you'll click this, you'll click start shipment, and you will donate whatever it asks for. If you cannot or will not donate whatever it's asking for, maybe it's asking for rare items and you don't want to, you can click new shipment, and it will take 2 hours for that to appear, or you can pay the $10. But either way, it's not going to matter, because you're not going to be able to reach the amount that it wants you to hit in that amount of time for just those 3 shipments, even if you do all 3 rows. So unless you're willing to pay for the piggy banks, which I highly advise against doing, do not do that, okay? Do not start doing that. If you start being one of those people that whips out your pocketbook to complete 1 assignment for the contest, that's foolish, okay? There are people that do this all the time. They pop open this, they do their 3 shipments, they open up the pig, and they pay the $2.99. Even if you were gonna do that, you would be better off doing the other shipments, paying the cash, and really getting your $3 worth and going for the 8,000 pig. Okay, now by the time you paid for the cash to do all 9 rows, you would probably have completed your task. Either way though, if you were going to pay the $2.99 for the piggy banks, I would be going with the 8,000. Okay, now the offer is valid for X amount of days. So see where it says offer valid for 3 days, 15 hours? Let's say that I completed all 9 rows. What they're saying is the piggy banks are going to be available for purchase for 3 days and 15 hours. Okay? So you don't have to jump on buying them right away. You can save them for those tasks if you wanted to, if you're somebody that's crazy enough to do that. The next option that you have is to do regional upgrades. We'll give you currency as well. Now, the next thing, the better option though, to be honest with you, is to do this here. To sell the items that you have to the people for the remaining amount of money. Now, this is kind of why a lot of people might want to hold regional items for if they have to do epics or if they have to do those regional coin tasks. Now, there is one other option. And I am not a fan of this option. I highly advise against this as well. And the only reason I'm even bringing this up is because somebody else brought it up to me. I would have never thought to do something so preposterous. Bulldozing your work. And this goes for anything like the Omega currency, the regional currency, bulldozing your work. For example, there are people that will bulldoze very valuable parks that are in their storage or on their map simply because they needed the coins for an assignment. So they wanted half their coins back, so they bulldozed their roads. Or maybe they wanted to earn enough Omega currency for their assignment, so they bulldozed their Omega roads. That is foolish, okay? You get half of its value back, and not to mention, that's retarded. Okay, so how does it work for regional? If you buy a tree, a regional tree for 250 coin, and you bulldoze it, you get half that currency back. So there are people out there that will buy a bunch of regional trees with whatever regional coins that they do earn, and they have them on their map for those assignments specifically. Then they go through and they bulldoze them, and they just keep kind of going through this cycle. And it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard to do. It really is. Because those coins could be better utilized either as using the trees for display or going towards your hotspots to make your epics easier. Because if you upgrade those hotspots, you can get 5 pointers out of those. Yeah, epic points worth 5 epic points each. Meaning you could just bang out epics all day long, not even blinking. But here's this idiot over here bulldozing all of his trees. That's foolish. Don't do that, okay? But I figured I would throw it out there because I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to kind of regurgitate that information to you, and you're going to think maybe that sounds like a good idea. If maybe you'll think and you'll actually be like, well, why would you do that, you idiot? You're foolish. Don't do that. That's stupid. Okay. So that is the way that you can do that task. That is the only way that you can do those tasks. Other than that, you're screwed and good luck. So that task sucks. We all hate that task. Now, that task can pop up in multiples. It is premium-ish. Premium-ish. It's not normally worth much. Like, it's usually worth over 2,000, but not quite 3,000. So it kind of falls into the category of like a factory production. The only factory production that is premium is electrical, could be worth 3,000. Most premiums, most factories are technically not premium, but they're considered borderline premium. They're pretty much premium, so we just call them premium. Okay, so we've done that upgrade, and for some reason it did not work. Oh, because it's a cactus one, right? I swear that's a Green Valley. Am I crazy? Oh, I started the wrong one. Okay, I was gonna say, no, there's that. What the hell? Okay, let's go over to this one. either way, this one would be done as well, because it's not, it's also, you know, blocking a 3K one. But that sucks because, yeah, I just did the one over there. Why didn't you guys say something? You're like, bitch, you can't hear us. I don't know. I blame CBT. It's his fault. That's what I usually do. Okay. So now, let's get this one out the way as well. Normally you would not cancel these. We're pretending I'm doing them. Okay. I thought there was another one over here I could do. Yeah. Alright. Got that. Okay, cool. So it opened up a 3K upgrade. This is what we want to see. Now, this is a must-do, okay? If you do not have Omega items, then that's your fault. You should have prepped better. And that's the thing about high-level players. There is no excuse, okay? There is no, oh, I can't do that task. No, that's not an option. If you want to play CoM competitively, you make sure that you can do that task if it pops up. Meaning, the day before the contest, you need to prep. You need to have canisters done. You need to have Omega items made. You need to be able to do your assignments, okay? If you're low on coins, if you're low on cash, if you don't have all of your shop slots unlocked, if you don't have any Omega items, if you don't have any upgrades available to do these for this, why do I have a London place? That shouldn't have happened. Then you will not be playing competitively because you're going to run into issues where you're not going to be able to do your tasks. And that is a big problem, okay? So this is the easiest way to get this task done, is to bulldoze and just kind of do the very first upgrade. Is it a huge waste of money? Absolutely. But if you're somebody who doesn't do Omega and you want to play CoM competitively, then you're going to be wasting money. I just explained that to you in the introduction of this video. The only way to run a 2K average or higher is to do pretty much your highest task at all times, but either way you can't let a 3K task sit there. And that's too easy of a task. That is a great 3K task, in my opinion. Granted, it does cost, you know, coin, and it does suck if you're not an Omega person. But it's a great 3K task. It's something you can do easily, whereas like something like the regional currency or the airport or whatever, those can be a pain in the butt because you may not have the materials required to do that. So now we've done that, and now we can come over here and kind of claim these. Okay. Now we've got the keys back for 1,200. Now I knew the keys was going to come back. It's just a matter of when and for how much. Okay. Now, oh shit, there went my stylus. So, now, remember when I told you guys we should be prepping those caps? That's the next thing that we would have done. But we have that urn leaf simoleons down there at the bottom for 1,700. That would be our next option. Okay, those caps are still making. We still have them going. But we have that urn leaf simoleons task there at the bottom. So right here, this task is going to cost us a pretty penny if we want to do this task. So we do that task. Hang on. Okay, now we've got a urn simoleons task. That task we never do, okay? It's an easy one for sure, but we never do it. Why do we never do it? Because it's always going to be there for the most part. It's going to be one of those things that comes back continuously. It's one of those things that's never worth more than like 1,500, 1,600 points. And it's just all around something that you would never touch. Okay. Now, let's say it's the end of the contest. It's your last assignment and it's the highest one in your list. Would you do it then? Yeah. Because it's going to give you the most points, right? And it's your last assignment. Okay. So what is the next correct choice based off of this? So we know we don't do war boosters. They're worth 1,000. They normally reappear and they're just total garbage. Monster. Never touch the monster unless he's 2,000 or higher, and the only reason you do it then is to get him out of that placement, because you do not want a bunch of tasks sitting around 2,000 points or higher, because it's going to block other tasks from appearing of that points value. So that's out. Glass, we're not even going to touch that right now because that's a 5-hour task and it's only worth 1,200 points. Then we have a 720 earn Neo-Simoleons. Now that task doesn't always reappear, okay, so that is rotatable at some point, but not right now because it's too low. Then we have epic points for 1,600 and we have the caps for 1,600. We would probably want to go with the epic points because 1, the caps aren't done yet, and 2, we need to get that epic out of the way so that we can hopefully get something better to pop up. Now, if you start an epic, the good thing about the fact that they upgraded the tasks, the epic projects, to needing 200 points is stop at whatever it's asking for, okay? So this one's asking for 40. So I would start my epic and I would stop at the 40 mark. And I would wait for about 5 or 6 tasks, maybe even 10 tasks, depending on how long it took me to get those tasks done. And I would see if I get any more epic tasks. This way I don't have to start another epic and I can get a couple birds with one stone, so to speak. So let's say that I did that task. Okay, this is what I get in its place. I already had the VU or this. So, well, we already know that if this is not a 3K VU, we're probably going to go with again, the earn simoleons task, the regional simoleons. So again, costing us quite a bit of money here. Now, this task, the VU task, used to be a main priority to clear. If you ever saw it in your list, it was like you had to get it out of the way because it opened up the possibility of a 3K task appearing. However, they have lowered the spawn rate of that task, meaning you clear it and you really don't ever get a 3K VU task. It's rare. It's more rare to get the 3K VU task. So people have stopped doing it as much because of that reason. They were clearing it all the time and then they were lowering their average because it was such a priority to clear it. So we stopped that. So anybody here low or high level, make sure that you are not clearing that as an immediate, oh my god, I have to get that done immediately like we were before. Doesn't mean you don't do it, it just means to be careful. Okay, this one's worth 2,000 points. Right now it's the highest thing in our list, so that would probably be our next choice. But here's the thing. Because of the fact that we can't see the value of the regional currency task, we have to wait. Now, that in a perfect world, that wouldn't have happened because we would have actually done the task, right? So we're going to pretend that this doesn't exist. And we're going to do the 2K VU. Okay? So we do that, and it's done. Now we get an upgrade. So let's go ahead and watch the video for that, which, like I said, if we were doing these tasks, this wouldn't happen. They would just pop up. I'm hoping it gives us a 3K upgrade. Which, who knows? 2K Omega, not bad. So we're gonna go with that one. See if we can actually do that one. I don't know how many. I've only got 5 Omega left, so it's gonna be tricky. No, don't want to do that. Okay, so essentially all you're doing is what you would be doing as a low-level player with more options, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to get stuff done. So let's pretend that you did that task, okay? Now you've got another upgrade. So it's between this upgrade and this. Now most of the time you're probably going to be working your top 1 or 2 tasks. Now this usually happens with low-level players as well. Now anybody here ever wonder why they worked their highest task and only their highest task and they just kept getting garbage, then all of a sudden they pick something lower from their list and they got this really great assignment. Anybody ever wonder why that happens? Okay, that is what I'm talking about. I'm explaining to you why that occurs and how to kind of manipulate that to your advantage. So what happens with the biggest mistake that high-level players make is they use one strategy and one strategy only. And that is to do your highest task at all times, no matter what. Ever. Under any circumstances, always do your highest task. That is a big mistake. Okay? That is something that you want to focus on. Yes, you do want to focus on, obviously, the highest one in your list. But there are going to be times where you need to focus on, okay, wait a minute here. If I do this highest task with all of these sitting here at the bottom, the probability of me getting a really good task is non-existent because this, and this are blocking all these possibilities. Thereby, every time I do this high task, I only have so many possibilities available. So then somebody says, okay, they come down here and they open up a possibility. And then all of a sudden something good happens. And they're like, oh, gee, why did that happen? I haven't had a VU task this whole time. Well, let's think about that for a minute. You haven't had a VU task this entire time, right? And you just did a 1K VU. So why would that be? Because you can't have more than one launch VU in your list at a time. So yeah, you're not going to get a higher VU because you're not allowing the game to give it to you, right? Or let's say that you have a 2,000 key, a 2,000 VU repair, and two 2,000 upgrades all sitting there. You've now lowered the possibility of anything higher than 2K appearing. Doesn't mean it can't happen, it just means it's really likely that it won't happen. So you need to clear up some of those 2K values, right? So you're looking at everything. You're looking at premiums, you're looking at points values, you're doing the same exact concept as a low-level player, same exact technique, except for you just have more options, that's all. And you're not ignoring upgrades. You're utilizing those upgrades. So for a low-level player, a 1K upgrade is a fabulous thing, but for you, it's not. You know, for you need to open up those possibilities. Now, airport task. Normally, as a low-level player, this would be your next choice to open this up. But as a high-level player, it's actually going to be this one. Okay? Because this one is non-premium, and it can be done quicker for a low-level player. And it opens up the possibility of more options, but you got to understand that a low-level player doesn't have the ability to do upgrades or anything like, they don't have regionals, they don't have anything like that. So they're pretty much stuck to factory production, airport. That's pretty much what they're stuck to. They don't have a whole lot of possibilities like you do. Now, we still have these up here. Now, these up here are more than likely going to be your go-to assignments, but just for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to pretend that only these exist. Okay? What is the next choice? Do you do the 1600 Paris or do you do the 1600 caps? Well, you would probably go with the caps, right? Because that is your next highest premium. So you're going to do the caps, which by now, you probably don't have very many done, so it'd probably be a good idea to put a token on them or have them prepped. Now you've got another upgrade available. So honestly, right now we really need to figure out what's in our list here before we can make the next decision. So we're actually hoping for some high point upgrades. The gist of what you're going to be doing is probably going to be high valued upgrades, high valued regional shipments, and then airports and things like that. That's probably going to be the gist of what your assignments are if you're doing them correctly. Now, okay, right there, we have a 1K Sunny. That's something we definitely need to clear up, right? because right now we're not doing too hot. We could do the 1600 Paris, but this one opens up more possibilities than the 1600 Paris. Now, obviously, we would want to see the regional currency and that other upgrade before making our selection. Now we know that we have that, so we need to get that making, okay? So we can go over there and get that going. It would be a lot easier to do this if I didn't have to cancel these, if I didn't have to watch these stupid videos. Then I could actually show you the 100% right way. Why does a girl have a beard? What in the hell kind of bull crap is this? Oh, for heaven's sake. What the hell? An eyeball. A reverse mohawk with an eyeball and a beard. What the hell are they talking about? Oh, that looks like a fabulous game. Here, let me download that. Plucking the hair on my chinny chin chin. How stupid. Okay, so this would be your next choice, okay? Technically, you would want to get the total value of everything before making your selection. But essentially, you're doing the same thing as a low-level player. You're just going through it just a little bit more complicated. You have a couple more options to consider. And in this instance, we need to see that other upgrade and that other production. But right now, it would be advised that we know it's there. We know we need to get it going. So let's go over there and get that going. We know we have this feed task we may have to do, so it might be a good idea to at least get 35 of those making. Since we're high-level player, it'll allow us to have some other factories open and still do that task. So I advise that, you know, you do prep that task just in case. Doesn't mean you're going to collect on it, but at least have it prepped. And getting a good pace is going to be everything, because you cannot afford to wait on flights. You can't afford to, you know, dilly-dally around for 10 hours. You have to keep up a steady pace. Some people, they just never get the steady pace down. It'll be day one and they have 40 assignments left, you know, or not day one, but it'll be 1 day left remaining and they'll have 40 tasks left going, oh yeah, where should I begin? It's like, begin by just giving up now, because now it's ridiculous. What you would have to do to get 40 assignments done in 1 day would either cost you so much, or you would have to make too many corners to cut to even bother winning. So at that point, you might as well just give up, right? So you have to get the steady pace. That's real important. Now, the best way to do that is to always be working on all your other tasks, even when you're not doing them. That way, if it comes to that, they're ready and available. So getting the feed done would be more important than getting the glass done, because it's worth more points, right? And it takes longer. So get that done. Now, let's say the feed gets done and it's sitting there and you get a assignment that requires, let's say, all of your factory slots and it's higher. Then you're going to pick up the feed without doing that task under the right circumstances to do that higher task. You can't afford to take any more hits, okay? You cannot afford to take low hits, especially as a high-level player. It's even more crucial that you don't do that. When it comes to canceling assignments, you better be very careful if you cancel an assignment. Honestly, you really shouldn't ever have to cancel an assignment as a high-level player. You should always be able to do your assignments. What assignment would you need to cancel? A regional currency? Well, those just come back in multiples, so what would be the point in canceling that? You need to do it. This I can't do it isn't acceptable. Not if you want to play competitively. You have to find a way to do it. And if you can't, if there's no way in hell you can, sure, you can cancel it, but you're more than likely going to lose. If you enter into the contest of mayors with the I cannot do this and I cannot do that and there's no way this is going to happen, those points are 100% out. You more than likely have already lost before you begun. Okay? And I'm just being honest. I always knew when I was going to lose. I always knew. I pinpointed it to the very task I screwed up. And I was like, there it is. That one mistake I made right there cost me the whole week. And it's true. And I would prove it to people all the time. I'd be like, look, right there. That's my one mistake I made. The one. And sure as shit, it would be like the last day, and if I would have done that task and had those exact points from what I knew I screwed up, I would have won. And it sucks, okay? For every one task you cancel, you need 2 3K tasks to make up for those points. Just to make up for the one that you canceled, okay? So if you cancel more than like 3 as a high level player, the realm of winning that's already out. Pretty much canceling 1 sucks, okay? You can't forget about timers. You can't say, oh, I know this task is higher, but I'll just do that later when I get to it. You know, maybe before bed I'll get to that task. No. You have to be on point and getting shit done. There is no, oh, I'll just do this because it's more convenient for me. Like, oh, I'll just match up my launch VU to my repair. Maybe you had a repair for 2,000 and a launch for 3,000, right? So you did the launch first and then you did the repair. But let's say you had a launch 1 and a repair 2,400. Do you do the launch 1 first or the 2,400? You would do the 2,400. Now, ordinarily, most of the time you would do the launch first, right? Because you can match it up and it opens up the possibility of getting a 3K task. But what are the odds that a 3K VU is going to pop up immediately after the launch 1? Slim to none. So, no, the repair would be the first choice because it's worth more points, right? And because the spawn rate of 3K VU is a joke. So, you know, honestly, this shit's not easy. It takes time. Always pay attention to your average. Try to, you know, for those of you who do not know how to calculate up your average, essentially what you're doing is you're taking the total tasks done and dividing it by your total score that you've earned. So if you are in Mega and you start with a total of 60 tasks and you have X amount done, so let's say you had 40 tasks done, you would divide whatever tasks that, you know, that number is, divided by whatever score you have. So that would tell you your overall average. And you want to have a minimum of a 2K. That's what you want to aim for, is a 2K average. Anything higher is excellent, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to pay attention to the people on your leaderboard and see where they're at. See where they're at on their leaderboard so that they can, so you can see like how many points they're jumping, if they're a hacker, if you even stand a chance. Sometimes it's a good idea to do the math on their score and say, okay, let's say I have 20 tasks remaining. Even if I got a 2K average that's X amount of points, would I be able to beat them even if I could run a 2K average from here on out? And if they're still, you know, 20,000 points above that, you know that it's not possible, right? So now you can say, okay, I'm not going to waste all these resources for the next 20 tasks because now I know it's not even possible for me to win anyways. So as long as I remain in the league and don't get demoted, that's what matters. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, when you click on your leaderboard here, when you fall into the blue is when you get demoted from whatever league that you're in. So you have to remain above that line to either be promoted or to remain in whatever league it is that you're in. If you're a high level player or a low level player, doesn't matter which, do not spend any cash and all that good shit in the lower leagues. Metro, you're going to start to spend a little bit of cash, but try not to spend too much. Do not give it your all until you get to Mega. Mega is where it really matters, okay? Hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and you know, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, which I'm sure you will, put them in the comments below and do your best. Try to see, you know, learn the patterns of the game and, you know, keep all possibilities open. The biggest thing to remember when looking at your task list is to look at everything. Consider everything. Look at what could happen, look at what can't happen, look at what should happen, everything, okay, before you make your selection. All right, you guys, I am gonna go so I can get this next video done.